Hello, everyone, and welcome down to episode number 34 of the Down South Photo Show with me, Brendan Waits, in glorious 16:9 ratio. Give it up. Come on. The amount of work I went
34 episodes. That's almost a whole year for you to figure out how to go from 4x3 to 16:9. But
yeah, we had a false dawn last week. I thought I had it sorted, but I didn't. But
and last week, or the last episode we spent 15 minutes trying to figure it out. You have just come on ready and raring to go with 16:9, clear audio,
flying.
Yeah,
absolutely flying. I don't know if this is clear audio. The audience will be the judge of that. It's probably all crap. But anyway,
well, the funny thing, most of the audience listening can't or wouldn't care about your 16:9 anyway
because they can't see it. So hello to everyone in your cars and in your ears. I'm in 16:9 ratio on a YouTube clip. So there, and I'm quite proud of myself. Yes, and it did take me 9 months. I'm Brendan Waits, and that guy over there on the other screen is Cam Blake down in Hobart, Tasmania, in his garden shed. He wanted me to mention that. Good evening, Cameron.
You're a prick. Good evening, Brendan. Yes, I am in my garage and also sleeping in a swag at the moment. So my wife and I haven't had a Barney, but she seems to be quite happy about the idea of me not being in the house at all.
Well, good set of precedent.
So the wonderful COVID has struck our house. Luckily and luckily for me, I was in Melbourne when it all kicked off. So I'm not a close contact. So I'm just staying out of there. The wife and the kids are in lockdown or in isolation for 7 days.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm staying away because I've got to go away this weekend for work. So I cannot be locked down. So I'm sleeping in a swag.
Yep.
And I'll be honest, I had to sweep up a fair bit of dog shit to actually get my swag down somewhere so I could actually find a clear spot for my swag.
Yes.
And now I'm in the garage doing a podcast. Not that you'd notice because I look like I'm in the middle of nowhere. So
well, you look like you do every week, so that's totally fine. But COVID has finally, got both of us. It took a while, but hopefully your family are relatively symptom-free, are they? Or
well, it's my daughter who's got it, and we're not 100. We're actually still waiting. She's done the rat test, but we're still waiting. She went and did a PCR test today because she had her first injection on the weekend and had a bit of a reaction from that. So we're not sure whether or not she's got it or maybe it's a false negative or anything like that. But no doubt we'll find out probably tonight. But I'd say she has, but she's not symptomatic. So I don't know.
With any luck, by this time tomorrow night, you'll be back in the house and everything will be fine and the kids will be fine. Everybody's happy.
It'd be great if it was. Yeah, I'd like to be able to sleep in my own bed and stop getting Uber Eats.
You love it. Come on.
Yeah. Anyway, how are you going this week?
Good. Yes. Busy as a one-armed drummer. We've got a lot going on, a lot of printing going out and still battling to get staff. So it's tough out there, but that's all right. Whatever. That's fine. But as I said, I think, by the way, sorry for the week off, folks. We decided Cam bailed into the great state of Victoria on a motorbike.
Yeah.
And I didn't think you'd want to hear me just banging on in the old 4x3 ratio. So I thought we thought we'd give it a miss and have a little week off.
Yeah. I decided to. I've been planning this trip with a mate of mine, Luke, another good little photographer from Melbourne. Been planning it for probably years now. We finally got our crap together and said, right, let's just go, and we did. And we went up to the northeast of Victoria, up around Bright, Mount Hotham, Falls Creek, Mount Beauty, Omeo. We did a few days riding up there. It was absolutely stunning. Really, really lovely. A bit of a break before we start getting stupidly busy again. Almost got bitten by a couple of snakes on the side of the road that were rearing up as we rode past. That was fun.
Wowzers. All right.
Yeah, wowzers indeed. But
that's pretty full on.
Yeah, we had a week off. It's good. I think we're a bit more refreshed.
Yes, we are. And while we had that week off, a little nugget was found by Cam. Telling basically a social media thing, telling people what photography podcasts they should listen to, and lo and behold, the little Down South Photo Show cropped up at number 6 on the list of 15, which is pretty impressive.
Well, that was one of our fans actually sent us the link and said, "Oh, no doubt you're all over this." I went, No, what's this all about? Because that's how much we care about things like that. And had a look at it, and there was I can't remember exactly. It was a magazine or something, and had us in the top 15 podcast you must listen to.
Nice.
It was great. And we're in pretty amazing company.
Yes.
The podcast above us, I'm not a huge fan of. One of their hosts is a bit of a git, but that's okay.
Right.
We'll probably talk to him soon anyway, I reckon.
How to make friends and influence people.
Well, he's not going to watch this anyway, so
no, he wouldn't do any research.
He wouldn't do any research.
Yes.
If he rocks up on our show, he won't know. We can play a joke on him.
Yes, he will make an appearance pretty soon. So that was really cool. Thanks to everyone who's tuning in, listening, liking, sharing,
awesome.
Subscribing, all that stuff.
Yeah.
As I say, episode 34. So we've been at it for a little while now.
What would we do if we got in like the top 3 or like 1 or something like that?
I don't know. Maybe we could have a little party.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe.
What do you think?
Maybe.
We need to set a goal, do we?
I don't know. Possibly. Now, on my screen here, Brendan, you've disappeared. Is your?
I just noticed that.
Yeah. It says you're talking, but your video stopped. So here we go. We're not going to get through this whole episode with that.
So we've gone all of 8 minutes, and my camera's already packed in.
Yeah, that's fine.
You can hear me fine, apparently.
I can hear you fine, but I can't see you. It's hilarious.
Okay, all right.
Well, we'll just have to continue, won't we?
No. Hang on a second. I'm going to get this back if it kills me. What the hell happened?
Talk about yourself.
I'm pausing the podcast. Wait. Okay.
So, how do we take this off? Welcome back. Welcome back to 4x3.
Yes, we're back in 4x3.
Have fun editing this one.
This is just going to be, mate. I did not set that up. I didn't mean for that to happen.
No.
It just happened.
Yep, it did. I can say I witnessed that happening.
How many minutes were we in? Were we in 16 by 9? Was I in 16 by 9?
I think you might have scraped 6 or 7 minutes. So next week we'll try. Next week we'll try and do 15 minutes of 16 by 9.
Yeah, it's a sign. So apologies. I've now gone back to crap quality 4x3 on my phone, and probably you might not notice a difference in the audio. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Where were we, Cameron?
We were talking about how awesome we were in the top 15, but I think that moment.
That's right.
I think that moment's passed now. I think we might be dropping out of that top 15 after this episode, but we have the best. We have the best loyal listeners in the world. So even if we were to stuff this up, like we generally do most weeks, I think they'd still hang around, because I'm sure that everyone feels a lot better about their own ability to use technology after watching an episode of us. Mainly you.
Mainly me. But the thing is, what has been 15, 20 minutes of mucking around for us has gone by like that for the listener. Yeah. So thanks to the wonders of modern editing.
Yeah. I've still lived the pain though.
Okay. The last thing we do when we introduce ourselves, which has gone on forever now, is talk about backgrounds. I've replaced mine with one we've done before. So bad luck. Where are you?
What about the one you had before you disappeared off 16 by 9? That looked nice.
It was nice.
People can go back to the start of the episode and just have a look.
That's right, and they can see that and see that I was at Ocean Grove Beach. No, you in the Flinders Ranges there?
Yeah, okay. He wants to move on. Okay, Flinders Ranges. Yeah, he's had enough. This is the Flinders Ranges last year when I was there scouting for this year's workshops. It was a beautiful morning. I just followed a road up the top of this hill, and there was a tree. So I went, all right, easy. That's it.
And there was a tree, and
there was a tree, and the sky. This is blue hour. We were talking about blue hour last episode.
Lovely. This is purple hour.
Yeah, it was very purpley hour. But yeah, it's this little cool tree, and there's really nice views back at the Wilpena Pound, which is like the big mountain face behind the other way of this shot. But that tree silhouetting against the background, I thought that looked pretty cool. So as you do when you're doing shots, you do a 360-degree look around to see what's going on.
Very
make
nice.
Sure. Yeah. So yeah, that's my background. Anyway, what are we talking about? What are we talking about this evening? Are we talking about anything at all? Or just
you didn't consider maybe replacing that sky with another one, Cameron?
No, I didn't, because that would be manipulating your image. It goes against my ethics and morals as a photographer.
Okay, well, that is the segue to end all segues, because tonight's main topic is image manipulation.
Is it? What are the odds? What are the odds that was going to be the topic?
What are the odds that you read a rundown?
What are the odds that we actually have one?
Image manipulation, the ethics, and our thoughts on it. Now, a little bit of a background here. I want to
that a pun?
I want to talk a little bit about how we got to this topic. It is a hot potato. It's a hot topic. It has been since the invention of photography, and in particular the invention of digital photography, scanning, Photoshop, all that sort of stuff, digital manipulation of images. But I think the catalyst for this was back when I was in Port Fairy, and I got a really cool shot with my drone of the lighthouse at Port Fairy.
Yes, you did.
And I chucked it into Photoshop, and I was editing, playing, getting it all set how I wanted. The sky was awful. It was so bland. It looked like it was grey clouds, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
It was just blue sky getting late in the day. There was just no features in it, not one feature. Not even the beautiful color banding that Cam's got behind him now. That didn't even exist. It was just this horrible sky. So I thought, I wonder what sky replacement would look like in that, with no intention whatsoever of, putting a new sky in it to sell it or to do anything more with it other than to see what it would look like.
Yeah.
And it actually looked really cool. In fact, here it is on the screen now. So I'll just put it up there for you. Can you remember the photo, Cam?
There's no chance that's going up on the screen.
No. Well,
yeah, I can remember the
really
photo. It is the lighthouse, and it is the wall or whatever running straight at the lighthouse.
Yes.
And it's got some really nice light on it. I went, gee, that looks good. And I love the sky. And you went, guess what? It's fake.
Yeah.
The sky's been dropped in. And I went, it's not a good photo then. I don't like it.
That's right. Exactly. So I was able to change Cam's opinion on my photo just by telling him that the sky was fake.
Well, I think even if you just talk about our main topic today, right, we're talking about image manipulation. The word manipulation is misleading, that you're manipulating someone to think something it is what it isn't. And I think that's where I maybe differ. I think there's two sides to this argument. And I actually do honestly believe that either side is not right or wrong. I don't think there is a right or wrong argument here. I think some people will just accept that you can manipulate your images to look whatever they want, drop skies in, take things out, put things in, whatever. And I think there's another side of people that are a little bit maybe more traditional, where less is more, less editing apart from the normal, exposure, contrast kind of things. I saw an interesting conversation the other day online. It wasn't anything that we were involved with, it's just a post that I saw. And there's this argument that people keep putting up there. The people that are pro manipulation or pro doing whatever you want to do, drop skies and stuff like that, they keep coming back to Ansel Adams in his darkroom saying, yeah, but Ansel Adams used to manipulate his photos. And yes, he did. He used to do things to his photographs and when he was developing them. But things are, they're chalk and cheese what they're talking about. Like, he wasn't replacing skies. He wasn't necessarily wiping out, entire buildings or putting extra things in. He wasn't, straightening things up or warping things or doing anything like that. He was just dodging or burning some extra lighting, which is, I think that's fine. If you're doing digital photography and you want to burn some light in or dodge some light in, I think that's part of the process. But replacing skies and like you said, doing manipulation to your image, to me, that's another level. To me, that's digital art. It's not digital photography. And that's where, where I sort of sit on it.
Yeah. Which I think most people, when they work their way through the argument, would probably fall on where you've just fallen with the way you've summed it up.
Yeah.
I think there's a line, and the line, I think everyone knows the line. You know what I mean? Like in every image, everyone knows when they're editing, they know the line. And it's like, okay, if I remove, so if I, for example, there's a power line running through a photo.
Yeah.
Now,
they're a pain now to remove.
I have removed several power lines. There's places here in Ocean Grove where you get beautiful views of sunrise and sunset, but there's power lines. So I have at least 2 or 3 times on images that I sell removed power lines. Now, is that the line? I mean, I think that's fine personally, because I'm actually taking something out so you can appreciate the view more. Yeah. So, and I think every image has got to be taken on its merits, particularly when you're looking at the way it's been manipulated.
Yeah, I think I come back, and again, like, I'm a bit different in regards to what I think and do in this situation. Like, I'm very old school. I like to try and get everything one shot. Like, for example, the image behind me, there's a circular polarizer used. There's a little bit of bringing up of shadows, down of highlights. That's about it. And to me, the way I understood photography, the way I study photography, the way I shoot, is that, you're talking about your power line issue there. Like, I've had that situation as well. We're like, shit, I just can't get those power lines. I have to get rid of them or whatever. But to me, the ideal scenario there is that you move yourself physically, or you get a different viewpoint to not get that power line. So to me, the true art of photography is getting it all in that one frame straight off the bat with a little tweak at the end. Not, okay, here, near enough's good enough. Okay, I need to get rid of that. I need to add in that. I need to move there. I need to squash that down. I need to, stretch the peaks on the mountain. I need to do all these things to create an image that is not a true representation of what the scene was. And I think that's where there's a difference, is that some people are creating digital art where they are really taking a canvas of a photograph and turning it into something completely different that represented their vision of what they saw, where there's digital photographers who are like, this is what I saw, and I'm going to capture it using the tool I've got, which is my camera, and do some small tweaks to bring it back. And you have to tweak, because raw files, they come out raw. They don't have any contrast or colors or anything major in them that you have to go and play with. So like I saw another article the other day where there was this beautiful Arctic shot. So it was like a big open plain, sort of frozen lake thing. And they had this beautiful snow owl flying at the camera, like really big in front of the camera. And straight off the bat, I'm like, the sun's behind the owl, the shadows are going, that's a fake owl. So I open up the comments and everyone's like, that's fake, that's fake, that's fake, that's fake. And then everyone's like, but what's it matter? Who cares? Blah, 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 blah. Yep. And I think that comes back to the emphasis comes back to the artist, that if you're going to put up a photo and claim it as, hey, how good is my photo of this owl in the Arctic Circle flying? You need to say that it's not a true representation of what you saw. It's a visualization of what you wanted to see. Because I think that's where people get a bit narky about things, is that people are getting their photos up there and they're getting big recognition and sometimes winning awards and doing all this, there's monetary values behind things as well. And we find out that they're fake, or they're not what they said they were. They're something else. So yeah, like if someone wants to add things in and add things out, fine, no problem at all. But if you're going to try and pass it off as being a one-shot photograph, that's where I get a bit, no.
Yeah, I probably don't get as annoyed as you do with it. I think in some ways...
I'm an angry little man, Brendan.
We know this. In some ways, I can respect what a photographer has tried to do, an image maker has tried to do.
Yeah.
But I'm with you 100%. You've got to, put your cards on the table. You can't just say, okay, I'll give you an example. So 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago now, there was a photographer up on the Sunshine Coast who posted an image. Obviously, I'm not going to name names, but they posted an image in a certain photo store's themed. So every month they have a theme, and you had to anyway. There was a photo of it was shot off Noosa, and there was two whales' tails sticking up in the air.
Yes,
humpback whales. Now, it was pretty obvious to me that was fake. All you had to do was zoom in a little bit, do a little bit of, looking around Photoshop, and you can, you can really bump up contrast, and you can see that the grain didn't quite match up, and the noise didn't quite match up, and it was layered and blah, blah.
Yeah.
And it was obvious. Unfortunately, they went ahead and won the competition.
Yeah.
And so I just posed the question. Would you mind walking us through how you layered this image in Photoshop? And of course, I got no response, and then the photo was taken down. And which was a little bit out of character for me, but it just annoyed me that much that it won the competition.
Yeah,
and I was just like, come on.
I think that's where again, it comes down to a bit of ego as well. I think there's some people out there who want to win competitions, who want to get their name out there, who want to win prize monies, or want to win a new camera, or want to get on the front page of a magazine or whatever. And they'll do whatever they can to manipulate the image as best they can, over process it, take things in, take things out. I don't have an issue with, like, if anything, there's probably a bit of jealousy from me as to people that can do that at such a level. Like if someone can manipulate, whales into a shot, or if they can put something together that looks fantastic and real, by all means, I don't hold any issues with that at all. But when they're trying to pass it off as that, this is a photo I got down the beach of two whales kissing each other, or something like that, that's complete BS, and it's misleading, it's dishonest. And I think that shows a lot of people about their character of a person as well, that they're willing to lie to everyone to win a competition. And that's where I think the digital manipulation can go too far. We had a similar thing down here in Tassie. Again, I won't name he or she, But we had a shot where there's a big dam out in the West Coast, beautiful big Gordon Dam. And this person had put the Milky Way over the back of this dam. Looked fantastic, really well edited, really striking image, but 100% fake, because the Milky Way does not set in the north sky of Tasmania or anywhere for that matter. So when the person was approached about it, they lied about it for weeks and weeks on end, said, no, that's it. And then it became this witch hunt amongst locals here to try and prove this person wrong. If that person had come out and say, hey, how good would it be if the Milky Way was over the back of this dam? Here's my vision. This is what I thought it might look like. What do you think? I reckon they would have been held up on people's shoulders and said, hey, that's amazing. Great job. But the fact that they didn't and got found out, and I think that's a bit too common in these days, where people are putting stuff up and trying to pass it off as original work, as a single shot, or this is the moment I got. And the reason why I get a bit pissed off about things is because I work my ass off to try and get to spots to get the exact moment in time that these people just Photoshop in 5 minutes. So that's where I think, as a traditional photographer, I get a bit jerked off about it, is because, I did a Milky Way shot similar to that one, but on a road. And I spent 6 months planning that. I had to wait for the Milky Way to be in the right spot amongst the road and all the big trees, had to wait for a clear night. It was -4 or 5. I could have done it in Photoshop in 5 seconds, but I didn't. I planned it and I went out. And I think that's where as an overall community, that's where maybe the manipulation's got a bad name, is because there's probably been too many people passing off work as original work or single shot work or minimal work, when they've been found out. There was a classic example of the AIPP. There was a photographer that won categories all over the world for their work and got caught out. They were cheating, 100% cheating, and they won thousands and thousands of dollars worth of prize money. And, so yeah, it's a really interesting topic. But yeah, I think, when you said as well, like the ethics of it all, I don't know, like that just comes back to, good on you. If you can do it, go for it. But all I'd suggest is don't try and pass it off as if you went to this amazing effort and just happened to get this miracle shot when it's been doctored up. That's all.
So obviously very passionate about this topic, Cameron. I like it because you haven't drawn breath yet. That's good.
Sorry. I'm just talking in case you drop out again.
True. Don't be sorry. I think you're right. And in so far as you've got to declare your hand, you've got to say what it is. Here's the thing though, that photo of the lighthouse with the sky in, if I was to put that up on a canvas print in my shop, or take it to Port Fairy and try and sell it down there, and I put on a sign, composite image, and put a price on it, blah, 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 I don't know that the average punter would care. I don't know that the average punter, and let's be honest, the average punter who normally buys my stuff is going to, I don't know if they would care, but I don't know how much information I would need to put on that sign, or if I'm actually talking to the customer, do I need to go up to them and say, now you realize before you give me your money that sky didn't exist. I've actually got it from a Photoshop stock image and I've added it in there because the sky was bland and I wanted to jazz up my photo. I just wonder, and I think there'd be people out there who'd make the argument, well, nobody cares, so why should I care? The problem is photographers like yourself, Cam, and photographers like me, and photographers definitely like Ben Horn would hate it. They'd be like, I work my ass off for these images, god damn it. And that's, you've got to appease those people, I think, more than anyone, right?
Well, I guess it comes back to as well, and I have this conversation many times with customers on workshops, and I have my opinion, clearly, as you've noted there, but that doesn't mean my opinion's right. Like, if you want to go out and create manipulated digital images, knock yourself out. If you want to sell your images, knock yourself out. Like, it's no skin off my nose. If you're making sales from it, awesome. Good on whoever it is that's doing that. And if you're not going to declare it or put it up there, that's fine. Like, I really don't have any issue about it. The only time I start getting issues about it is when people are actually winning, or winning as a broad term, winning off those images. So whether or not they're they're getting recognition, or they're getting sponsorship from brands, or they're winning prize money, and they're not declaring it, because most competitions these days will have a composite section, all that kind of stuff. But
as they bloody well should.
But who are we or anyone. Like I'm nobody. Like, who am I to say to someone, I don't think you should be making composite images or like, it's not nothing to do with me. I just don't do it. If someone else wants to do it, by all means, you got my respect because you can do it. But if I see you put up an image and say, oh, look, I went and got this Milky Way shot where the Milky Way never is, and how good am I? And then I lose all respect for you straight away. And I won't enjoy the rest of your work. I probably won't even give it the time of day because, again, photography, to a lot of people, we've spoken about this, it's a passion. It's a really good way to, clear your mind. It's good for your mental health. But if you're using that medium that we love so much to manipulate people into liking you or doing something like that for your own mental health, then there's bigger issues going on there that you probably need to deal with, where, you don't need your imagery to get you likes and subscribers or whatever. So like I said, it's just about being honest. But again, like, who are we? Like, I'm no one. You're no one.
Yeah.
Like,
we're not their customers.
That's right. And then, like, getting back to your one, like, if you want to sell that lighthouse shot with the extra sky in it, then by all means, that's your work. It's your art. You can do whatever you like with it. But if I see it up there, look out. Anyway,
it's such an interesting topic because, without question, that sky replacement I did on that lighthouse photo improves
the photo. Yeah, absolutely.
It's still let's just put humbleness aside. I think it's a great photo without the sky thing there.
Yeah.
But it's just missing. I just couldn't be there at sunrise, and the sunset was crap. So I just I added it in there, and I did it out of curiosity, mainly to see how good this sky replacement thing really is, and it's bloody amazing. Like, it's pretty lifelike. Like, it's pretty accurate, which in itself is cool. But you're right. It's like, well, if you want to do that, do it, but don't tell the world that that's how it looked. Because
it'd be like you. I was actually thinking about this on the way today. I was driving around because I read the running sheet, what we're talking about. And I was thinking about, like, what analogy could I come up with for the show that sort of gives you an idea of where I sort of fit in regards to this. So I put it down to this, right? If I came over to your house and you said, hey, come around for a roast meal, I'll cook some dessert for you and everything like that. I come around to your house, we sit down with the family, kids having a great time. This amazing dinner rocks up with this amazing roast, all these kind of things. Take the best roast I've ever tasted in the world, best cake I've ever tasted in the world, amazing dessert. And at the end of it, you go, yeah, but I actually bought it from someone else. I bought it from a chef. I'd be like, well, you've just completely misled me from woe to go. And then you've told me that, actually, it's not really what I thought it was. It's something completely different. And that's where, that's like, and going back a little bit where we're talking about manipulation of images. And I know there's going to be people on here who are going to say, yeah, but everyone uses Lightroom and everyone uses, used to go in the darkroom. That's not what I'm referring to. Like, adjustments of exposure, contrast, a little bit of saturation, highlights, shadows, all that sort of main stuff is pretty much what you used to do in the darkroom with, way you used to agitate film, give you more contrast. You can dodge and burn light. That's not what I'm referring to. That to me, everyone does that. So I don't refer to that as manipulation. I refer to that as normal developing of an image. It's when we're talking about what you're processing, like you said before. It's when we're talking about dropping skies in. There's a couple of classic shots. Even there was a classic shot from Peter Eastway, the godfather of landscape photography in Australia. He did a pilgrimage to the Western Arthurs in the name of Peter Dombrowskis. They walked out to that classic Lake Oberon, took a beautiful shot, in memory of Peter. And he got it back. He put the photo up and he got ripped to shreds because he'd actually stretched some of the peaks around the lake. He'd actually warped them a bit. And all the traditionalists got onto him, how Peter would be rolling in his grave and he'd be doing this and doing that. But he declared it. He actually declared it in the image, saying, I've actually done some things to this. Yeah. No problems at all. That's fine. But when you're trying to pass it off as this is what it looks like when it's not. Yeah. So.
Yeah. And there's another side to this as well. So every now and then a photographer will get an absolutely ripping photo that is hard to believe that it's real.
Yes.
And that's where it's detrimental to their work because they have worked hard, they've nailed the image, and it brings into question everything, right?
Yes,
so,
it does. Yeah.
When the general public cottoned on to the fact that you can manipulate an image in Photoshop.
Everything's Photoshop.
Well, then that's right. It's the absolute right. Everyone goes, oh, well, it's Photoshop. Now, my kangaroo hopping across the lake photo, which
Totally
we brought up many
Photoshop.
times. Oh, 100%, mate. That's my little brother in a kangaroo suit.
Good impression.
Yeah. That's shot on film. It's it is real. And the problem with it is it looks like it's Photoshopped.
Yeah.
And when I used to do the markets, every second person, and you'd hear them Photoshop, they'd be whispering, and I'd no, it's actually not. It's actually real. That's the full negative. That's what I saw,
and that's what I mean about the hurt that comes as a photographer when you get that cracking image of the kangaroo, and I'm sure we could put it up on the screen again, but this cracking image of the kangaroo jumping across looks like it's the Jesus kangaroo walking on water. That to me, it's one of the best wildlife shots you'll see in Australia of a kangaroo, the light and everything like that. The fact that you're there, the fact that you've caught it on film, like it's just a moment in time, a classic moment in time. And then for someone to come along and just go, oh, yeah, it's Photoshopped. Like to me, that'd rip my heartstrings out. It's like, no, that's my pride and joy. That's as you call it, it's my moneymaker. And I've had the same thing where I've had people have a go at me about Aurora shots. Oh, it's totally Photoshopped, or it's totally this or totally that, or shots that I'm really, really proud of that I walked 10K in a blizzard to get to. Like, oh no, he's Photoshopped the snow in there, or he's done that. That's where I get my nose out of joint, because you're right. We've created this sort of arrangement now when a cracking photo that someone works really hard for, or maybe they just get lucky, but either way, it ends up going into, oh, that's the Photoshop bucket, because so many other images have passed as real images because the owner of the image hasn't said, hey, this is fake. And all of a sudden now everyone's expectation is that anything that's a good photo that's quite unique, well, that couldn't have happened. It must have been Photoshopped. Well,
I think there's a real element here of trying to put the genie back in the bottle, and we're not going to be able to, because the way images, even now, like, so if you use your iPhone to take a photo, the computational photography that's going on, the computational processing and developing of the image that's going on behind the scenes before you even see it, in that split second where it edits, makes your blues pop, makes the skin tones look perfect, all that sort of stuff. That's happening without anyone pushing one button on Photoshop, not editing a thing. Right. But what it does, it gives a perception that the camera on the iPhone is better than the Samsung. Yeah. Because they've got the better program.
That's right. They've tripped it up.
The better algorithm that can pick up the sunset better and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
So as I say, there is a real element of genie back in the bottle. And unless we all declare digital photography dead and buried, and it's a whole other category of photography, which technically it is. I mean, it's analog and it's digital, right? And never the twain shall meet. You've got two parallel lines that can't cross, because one is analog, one's digital. The manipulation level on analog, as you've already mentioned with Ansel Adams, can only go so far in a dark room.
Yeah, that's right.
And even I know we keep referencing Ben Horn because his interview was fantastic. It's linked here somewhere. He was talking about, he scans the negative.
That's right. Well, he makes that's it. Yeah.
That becomes a digital image.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing that I struggle heavily with when I shoot my film, is that I'm wanting to shoot analog because of the challenge and the enjoyment and the feel and the look and all that kind of beautiful stuff to it. But the only way now I can do anything in regards to sharing that is 9 times out of 10, you've got to make it a digital image. You got to make it a digital file, which you will then go in and play with and do stuff. So, I think, like it's a funny one. Like I said, the genie is out of the bottle. Like I find, maybe one thing that I think maybe is helping me sort of get maybe ahead of some people doing similar sort of workshops that I do, is that I really do pride myself on teaching people to get it right in camera, whether or not they go back and drop skies and do stuff, whatever. But if we get so many moments on workshops where it is, hey, that's the one shot out of that's we've got that shot and it's one shot. When you go back and edit that, you're not going to have to do much at all to it. And the buzz that people get about that when they get back to their computer and they go tweak, 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 holy crap, that looks amazing, as opposed to that looks crap off the bat. Let me spend 3 hours here dropping skies and then doing this and doing that. So like, I don't know, like it's horses for courses. And, again, I'm not criticizing people who manipulate their images or Photoshop heavily their images. That's not the argument here. For me, it's about, just being, honest
representation.
Yeah, just being honest about what you're doing and what you're putting out there. So Yeah.
So I talk about where the line is and where the line gets blurred, and we've established that you cross the line when you put something into your scene that was never there in the first place.
Yeah.
So let's talk about a person that we might one day get on the podcast, and that's Photo Tripper.
Yes.
Now, quite often, if you've watched his videos, he'll set up his camera on his tripod. He's framed a scene. He has worked his ass off to get to that spot. He's a really hard. He hikes a lot. He's similar to you. He'll go into these areas, and if the light's no good, he'll bail. He'll come back, and all that sort of stuff. And he'll make sure he's there at the right time of year, even to get the right light. However, he will quite often take a series of frames. Now, in particular, let's say it's got a mountain range, and there's clouds rolling across.
Yeah.
And there's one particular video that I can remember where the clouds were rolling across. He had his camera locked off on a tripod, and he was just taking exposures probably about every minute and just doing the exposure. And then he blended the images into one.
Yep.
Now, that sky was there, that foreground was there. They weren't both there at the same time. Is that the line? Is he pushing hard up against the line cam?
Personally, I still think that's crossing the line for me. To me, again, I'm all about getting that moment, and it's a moment. It's not a series of moments made into one moment. It's a moment, and that's what photography was all about. You talk about every classic shot you can ever think of that's been on in front of every Time magazine, every National Geographic magazine, every magical shot you can think of up until the last 10 years has always generally been a single shot. And it's
there was a word that you just used that I think speaks to this in spades, and that was the word was. That is was what it was like.
Yeah.
It's no longer.
No.
Go and grab any photographic magazine, like Australian Photography, Better Photography. Go and grab National Geographic. Go anything and look at the cover. There is stuff going on in that image every time.
Yeah.
Every time, because it's a digital photo for a start. There's going to be changes in light, contrast, all that sort of stuff. But that process of image stacking now has become very, very popular.
Yeah, it does.
So, in your opinion, should that be declared? I mean, Photo Tripper declares it in his video, in his YouTube video. He says, "This is what I'm doing. This is the process I went through to get this image." But the thing is, with Photo Tripper, for example, he's talking to photographers, mate. There's not the average mug punter that watches that.
Yeah. And that's the thing.
Hi to all the mug punters watching tonight.
And watch our subscribers. Again, like it all depends on what you're doing with that image as well. But getting back to that, should it be declared? Well, most competitions now will ask you, is it a combination of images, or is it blended exposures, or is it focus stacked, or whatever it is? So you need to declare that. And, we can say that everything was back then, but if all the major competitions, pretty much every competition I can think of, ask those questions, then why are they asking those questions? If it's not relevant anymore, if we've moved past that one shot is the hero shot, how good is it moment, that was what it was 20, 50 years ago, then why are we still asking for people to declare that? The reason being is because people still marvel at someone getting that one shot. That is the whole beauty and amazing part of photography, is that you can capture 1 millisecond of time that no one else ever captures, no one else ever sees again. And you as a photographer can put yourself in the right place at the right time to get it. That's the magic part of photography. It's not about how many things how many layers I can put in there.
No argument.
And I think
we've spoken about this many times. We've talked about how when you do work hard to get to the location and then the light comes, and you get the payoff and the endorphin rush of capturing the photo. That's one side of it. That's the photographer's side of it, and the other side of it is the person viewing the image as well. So and that's where, which I think you've made your stance very clear, that it should be declared.
Yeah, and getting to the point of people buying the image, well, that's a completely different thing. Like, people looking at it from a sale point of view, like, it's irrelevant what the photo is made of or how it's been produced for someone buying it. The process of how it's being captured is practically irrelevant to anyone buying it, unless they've got an interest in photography. The person buying it is buying it because it speaks to them as a piece of art. How they get to that point is irrelevant. How the artist got that moment doesn't matter. So, you know,
Yeah.
I don't think you should have to declare stuff to customers. But if a customer came up to me and said, hey, this shop behind you, I'm really interested in having this blown up for the side of my house, huge, you know, pay thousands of dollars to do it. Is that a real sky or is that a Photoshop sky? All of a sudden that question becomes quite loaded, because that could be them turning away or walking forward, you know.
Is that the sale or isn't it?
Is that the sale or isn't it? That's right. So,
yeah.
But yeah, they're two sort of different aspects of this discussion. I think the selling of images and the people that are buying it is completely different to how the image is made. And, you know, Photo Tripper, he declares it, he puts those images together. You know, and I'll be totally honest. I've racked my brain over the last few years about what I do and the way I edit my images. And I keep thinking to myself, am I missing out on opportunities because I'm not following this trend of focus stacking or image blending or dropping things in or dropping things out? Like, I've actually thought about it quite heavily about, am I losing sales? Am I potentially losing prize money if I enter competitions or whatever, because I'm not doing what a lot of others are doing? And I just can't bring myself to do it. That's just and as long as I'm happy with my own photography inside and how I'm going, then I think that goes for listeners and viewers as well. Like, you don't have to follow these trends. You don't have to drop skies, and you don't have to do things, you know. Do what makes you happy. If you're out in the field and you're getting shots that you're happy with, who cares? That's the main thing, as long as you're enjoying it.
Yeah, look, I think on the whole, we're in heated agreement on this. I think, though, I'm a little bit more open to it. I think it has a place, but I keep coming back to the point, and I can't escape. I've thought about this all week. It's like, no, you're right. You got to declare it. That's it. Yeah. You just got to, if you're putting your work out there and it's a composite, please say that it was a composite, so that everyone just goes, oh, it's still a nice photo.
Yes,
but
that's the
we know that it's not what was there.
but that to me is the whole crux of the matter right there. If you, as a photographer, are making these images and putting things together, and you have a concern that if you tell someone it's a composite versus not a composite, then there's a reason why there's a heartbeat missing there, because you're like,
you got to question what you're doing.
Yeah, exactly. If you're stalling that at that last hurdle by telling people if it's a composite or not, then there's more going on that you need to talk about with your photography. Then gee, we're getting real deep now, aren't we?
No, it's good, because I was just thinking while you were talking, I was thinking, well, you know, by doing what I did with that lighthouse photo and running it past you to see, and you went, great shot. I think you said in your comment, you said, oh, that looks awesome. And then when I told you it was not, it was, you know, it's a fake sky, and you know, your attitude changed. That's fine, but now your attitude might be, well, he's going to do that all the time, which I'm not. I'm not saying you per se. I'm just saying when people find out that I replaced, and you know, oh, well, he cheats.
So
they tar every photo with the same brush.
Well, my reaction, if you'd said to me, hey, I was down at Port Fairy, here's my lighthouse shot, sky was crap, so I actually tried Photoshop and dropped this sky in, it looks pretty good. I'd be like, hey, that's pretty cool. That works. Yeah. Because it's up front straight away. But if you pass it off and say, how good's this shot I did with this sunset? Geez, it was a cracking sunset. Yeah. And I'm like, gee, that looks really good. Great job, mate. You're there. You got all the exposure right. You did everything. Oh, by the way, 50% of it's fake.
I can't lie to you. You know I can't lie to you.
I know. You lied about your golf day dates, but that's okay. You changed them on me.
Oh my!
I'm not letting that go. But anyway, it's an amazing topic to talk about, and a lot of people are very passionate about it. And I've got no doubt there'll be comments, and I hope people do put a lot of comments on this topic, because it is a hot topic at the moment. I put my hand up the first to say I'm old school, and I'll also say that a lot of times I don't think I would do these things because I maybe not know how to do them. Maybe I'm a bit ignorant to the whole thing about what more could be done to my images. But I sort of go on the attitude that if it ain't broke, don't fix it. What I do works for me, and I love what I'm doing, and that's really all that should matter. And that's all that should matter to people.
That's exactly right. And what you do does work for you. You're successful at what you do. You sell your photos. Yeah. It's funding your passion. It's you've been able to make a living out of it, which is very, very commendable. Yeah. But yeah, I think in a nutshell, and we're going to wind this little topic up now, but in a nutshell, declare it, folks. Tell us if you've manipulated that image. Yeah. Leave a comment below. We're interested in your feedback.
Or not. Or don't tell us. I don't care.
Yeah, well, Yeah.
Just to raise this whole section. Just do what you want, folks.
Yeah, that's right. Forget what
Yeah.
Just pretend my webcam dropped out. Oh,
yeah, we're not number 6 out of 15 in Australia because we have opinions.
Okay, so that was good discussion. I really enjoyed that. And as awesome. I say, it sounds like we're in heated agreement. So I think we've just disappointed a couple of people who were hoping for a popcorn moment, an absolute blow up on the podcast. Yeah,
look, I think, we could definitely disagree on some things, but I think I think if you pull all the layers back, and this will be the last thing I say, if you pull all the layers back of everyone who grabs a camera and goes out and takes shots, I really do believe truly that most people will go out there and try and want to capture that one moment. I think it's when people maybe don't understand what's going on or aren't prepared enough or a little bit lazy that they get back home and go, oh, hang on, there's a button I can do to get that. Oh, I'll just do that anyway. So I think everyone's heart's in the right spot. It's just some people follow trends, some don't. So
one other thing I'll add, because while we're on the topic, I do a lot of photo restoration for people, and Photoshop has become like an absolute tool of the trade for that. But now with these neural filters, they're called, which does sky replacement and things like that, there's a new one called colorization, which will colorize a black and white image.
Right.
Absolutely amazing how good it is. So I've been getting people. Today I had a lady and she had this black and white photo of her mother, who was like she was elderly, and her mum, so this photo was quite old. It was her mum when she was young, like in the 30s or something.
Yeah.
And I scanned it and showed it to photo. And while she was out, I colorized it. And then I got her to come around. I said, have a look at this. And I pushed the colorize button. She cried.
It is amazing.
It took her breath away.
Yeah. It is amazing that you've just phrased that. And this is, folks, this is not prepared or discussed. I was in Melbourne just a couple of days ago, and my grandmother, she's 95. She's finally gone into a home. She's been independent, still amazing, but just got to the point where she needed help. And there was a couple of photos of my dad and my great aunt that were in her house that are now hanging up in mum and dad's house. And I went, they're in these old gold frames, and there's my dad. I was sort of hanging shit on my dad about how ugly he is now versus how pretty he was as a little boy. And they've been colorized. They're old photos that were done at the time when they used to take black and white and colorize them and stuff like that. And everything's a bit milky and moody and, a bit more glazed over and stuff like that. So I was literally
wearing blush.
Yeah. I was literally having that conversation on Tuesday this week. And what are we now, Thursday? Yeah. And now you've just raised that. So that's weird.
Yeah. Yeah. It is. Cool. But if you can get the original black and white, send them my way and I'll colorize them for you.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Game on.
Everybody's, yours and mine, favorite part of our show is back. It's Dear Cam.
Oh, I thought it was going to be Pluck a Duck. Anyway,
it's Dear Cam. This comes to us from David. Hi, David. Avid fanboy, listener, watcher, everything, a commenter.
David better learn how to row a boat because he's coming down the Franklin.
Dear Cam, I have scored a ride in the cabin on the locomotive on the Victorian Goldfields steam train from Castlemaine to Malden. Lovely part of the world.
Very nice.
It will be hot, coal dusty, and potentially cramped with high contrast between inside and outside, and inside when the firebox is open and closed.
Right.
Goodness me, this is a setup.
Changing
lenses is not an option. I only get one. So I'm assuming because it's a horrible environment, can't change lenses.
Yeah.
Don't own a second camera, David? What's wrong with you? I only get one. Is it the 15 to 30, 24 to 70, or 70 to 200? This is a one-off opportunity of a lifetime. He is just setting you up big time here. I thought this would be a good question to introduce the issue of lens selection in limited circumstances and what things people should consider. I probably didn't have to read this bit out. I have made my choice, but I'll be interested in seeing what Cam's thought process is.
Well, you've already made your thought, Dave, so what's the matter?
Okay, so next week on the show we're going
if you've got a Dear Cam.
That's right.
Look, it's funny, this one. I've actually been in the actual engine room of a steam engine out on the West Coast Wilderness Railway. So that was a mouthful of marbles. It's a beautiful railway that runs between Strahan and Queenstown, and I did a tourism junket there once, and they gave us all about 20 minutes up in the front, to drive the train and pull the horn, and stuff like that. So I can actually firsthand visualize the situation David's going to be in. Now, the one I went on was through rainforest and things like that. So the contrast and dynamic range from inside out wasn't too bad. You had a little bit of fun to play with. But I can imagine he's going to have quite bright outdoor, plains and paddocks and stuff versus the inside. So to me, I think the choice would be the 15 to 30. And the reason being is it's a once in a lifetime opportunity to get in this steam train and see how it all works. There is an amazing amount of detail inside these steam engines, the fire, all the dials, the steam, the person driving it, the dirt and grime over people, things like that. To me, if it's a once in a lifetime opportunity to go in that steam engine, I couldn't care less about what's outside the windows. I'd be wanting to get as much as I can in the steam engine, and using that 15 to 30 is going to give you that really cool spatial awareness type of shot that you can say, hey, look how cool this is. You'll still be able to point it out the window and get some landscape shots as well. I think a 24 to 70 is not going to be wide enough inside this engine box. I think they are very tight spaces, and you haven't got much room to move. So if 24 mil being your widest, I'd say no. And a 70 to 200, yeah, you can come back and do the landscape another day, David. I wouldn't worry about it. So I'd be saying 15 to 30 purely because it's a very tight space, and the action and everything that's going on in that engine as you're chugging along is stuff that you can get some really, really cool wide angle shots. And even at 30 mil, you can get in pretty close and get some good shots as well.
I want to see a photo of some dude shoveling coal into the thing, 15 mil, with just a little bit of blur of that landscape going by.
Yep,
just
exactly.
in the gaps in the windows and stuff.
Yeah.
With flame coming out. And if you don't get the blur right, Photoshop is nuts.
drop a sky.
Now,
yeah.
I like to put my 2 cents in deer cam.
Yes.
I think you're spot on.
I think knowing
30, it answered itself.
Knowing David as well, and I love David, he's a lovely guy, and we've had a lot of laughs over the years in workshops he's come on. Knowing David, this will be a real challenge for him because he's got about 1 square meter of room to move. David loves to get 600 compositions in 600 shots. He wants to move. Every shot has to be a different composition. This is going to challenge you, David, because you're going to be stuck in this little cabin, and you're going to have to, use your wits a bit more to get these interesting shots. But my advice would be shoot low, shoot high, shoot that sort of really exaggerated sort of wide angle. The dials all are really cool. Like Brendan said, shoveling coal in, the flames coming out of there are really cool. The shots outside the window are really cool. The little windows I look at exposed for the outside and just get the frame so you can see the outside, but you're looking through the front of a steam train. But it'll challenge you, David, because you're a fairly tall guy and there's not much room there, and you're going to get dirty. And I think you'll love it though. I look forward to seeing some shots.
Very well answered. If you have got a deer cam, please send it to us. I think David actually went through my camera and photo Facebook page because he wanted to gazump you.
He did gazump me because I didn't see this one come through. Yeah.
So contact us, all the
David,
descriptions and things like that. This dog's breakfast of a podcast has gone way too long. Apologies, but it was a very good topic tonight. Just quickly, because we sort of missed last week, and we had the Ben Horn one early in the month, our abstract landscape, #abstract landscape, we're going to carry it forward into April because March has been a bit of a bummer and we haven't sort of done stuff. But we do have a special guest again next week on the podcast. So
are we letting the cat out of the bag?
No,
she's not coming. Okay.
No, for one very simple reason, and that is that he may not turn up.
I can't imagine that. He will be here with bells on. It's a he, by the way.
We have. I think he's actually quite a big name in the industry.
He tells everyone he is.
Been involved in the photographic industry in this country for quite some time. Both Cam and I have had the pleasure of working with this gentleman.
Yes.
All will be revealed next week.
He's a sweet smelling kind of guy, isn't he?
Very, very much so. In some areas of Tasmania, I think he'd be quite popular as well.
He would be.
So that's going to be it for next week. Cam, have you got anything to add to this dog's breakfast of a podcast?
Mate, it's been awesome. It's been awesome from woe to go. I mean, I'm still in the garage. I haven't been eaten by anything yet.
You're in the garage. I've got a webcam that just doesn't work, so that's going back.
No, I'm all good, mate. I've got a bit of a weekend away. We're doing the southwest fly-in trip for 3 days, so that's going to be a great little trip. So I'll be able to
that'll be cool.
Show some photos and talk about that when we get back. But at the moment, I'm just staying well away from everyone.
Well, that means that you can keep working. So that's what you got to do.
That's the main thing. Yeah. So, how about you?
Thanks for tuning in, everyone.
Nothing. You're finished. You're done.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that's it. We're done. We're getting
Okay.
out of here. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. We'll see you for episode 35 next week.
Absolute dog's breakfast. Bye.
Bye now.